So hi, my name is Sulana de Jager. I was born in the Free State, the Eastern Free State, and from there went to the US, worked there for 7 years, driving truck to get some funds, and then after that I came back, started studying mechatronical engineering, got my degree after 4 years. When I was done with that, I went on to a wind turbine technician course, which I then completed. That must have been 2015. After finishing that, oh, actually, while I was studying, I was lucky enough to be awarded a scholarship fund with Globeleq. I then joined their team as an operational intern, starting in Cape Town in the monitoring center. So I did that for the my final year of study. Then I did the wind turbine course, and after that, a position became available as a solar technician on one of the solar PV plants that Globeleq operate and maintain. I then relocated to the Aar, which is the central of South Africa in the Northern Cape. Then I was about 2.5 years doing PV solar technician work, repairing the inverters, components, the solar modules, the cablings. Then after 2.5 years, got promoted to supervisor, was supervisor for just under a year, then became manager. So then I managed the R side for about a year before my portfolio grew to managing three of the solar sites. The two additions that came in after the R was the Aris and Konkunsi solar power, which is located also in the Northern Cape near Kakamas, not Kakamas, Pofadder and Kenard is the two towns closest to those sites. So I managed those three sites for let's say about 3 years. And then after the 3 years, I was promoted to asset manager, where I'm now having to oversee a portfolio of five solar sites and doing the budgeting and the maintenance planning, and then basically just guiding and supporting the site managers on the five sites. Currently, if we have big projects, I sit with the engineering team to regulate the spend towards basically doing a feasibility analysis on the projects, and then seeing, the implementation. Is it moving forward? Is the safety aligned with our policy and procedures? And then also the 3 year forward planning. Is there any improvements that can be done? Do we need to amend any of the maintenance plans? As sites age, you tend to pick up things that is not in the normal, maintenance plan, that you need to add to now prevent new failures. You also, especially in machines and technologies, they advanced very quickly, so there might be components that might do the job more efficiently. And then you can reverse some of the degradation that you see on the older sites. Then you can get back some of those gains. So basically looking into those studies, looking after the budgets and the maintenance, and then also from a commercial perspective, when you get your service level agreements with the IPP and the reprogram, there is some requirements from a BEE perspective, from a local support, from the local communities. We have trusts and obligations towards the reprogram. So then also when you do go out into market and you get your contractors in, we try and support women-owned businesses. We try and support youth-owned businesses. And then you get a scorecard from the reprogram. So a part of my job is also to regulate, the contractors and SLA agreements that we do sign on, to try and support local and women-owned and youth-owned upcoming businesses. So monitoring all of that, going through the contracts, making sure that all the doors are covered, maybe they add a little bit here, a little bit there. So basically just going through the contract from a commercial perspective as well. And then stakeholder engagement, making sure, Eskom is the buyer in this situation, that we have good relations there, that the plant stays grid code compliant, doing the 6 yearly tests with RETEC. Not myself, obviously, just guiding the engineers. There is a lot of clever people out there as well, and you need to learn how to bring all of that together in a nice package and make everybody, communicate in a way that everybody is on the same page. So that kind of forms, I think, the bubble that I'm currently functioning in. And then on the offside there, you also have the people component, making sure that your staff underneath you and your team underneath you is following the policies and procedures, but also making sure that they are taken care of and that they've got the resources they need in order to do their jobs effectively. Um, so yeah, and then, well, our company, and it's also a passion for me, is mental health, where we, sourced ICAS, and then also making sure if employees, especially there is some challenges from a personal perspective, to also support and acknowledge that, people do have a personal life, and attending to that to some extent is also beneficial to the team, and then making sure all of that is well rounded and taken care of, I think is currently what I'm up to. So what we do is we go out in the community. We have like I'm going to call it a small expo, where we give the local communities an opportunity to come and present either their business ideas, and or then if they already have a business that is functioning, but they need to now grow this business. So the local community will then come together. We have this function, depending on the size of the community, 1 or 2 days. So prior to the event, they will submit like a small little summary of what they will bring to the table. And then from there, we normally get consultants in that will scan through it. And with the ones that has show good potential, they will then invite, the invitees will then come and present their ideas or business. Okay. Obviously, we can't support absolutely everybody. So we kind of pick the ones that seems like a sustainable solution or a plan or a business. And then the company commits to a 3-year support program. So what then happens is, for instance, in this situation, this lady came to us. She had a business up and running, but it was very small. But the idea that she had in mind is, with all the renewables that comes up, especially like in solar, you need to clean your modules, you need to do vegetation, and all the solar plant, well, renewable plants for that matter, also has security. So normally you will have 3 different vendors, you'll have different people to interact with. So what she brought to the table is an all-rounded company that she wants to provide all the services out of one company. So what the company did was they went in, they supported her. So support can come in the form of capital, where we can supply capital to, now if she has bigger staff, she'll need a transport vehicle to get them to site. She might need a little bit of support on cash flow, when requiring, in the beginning you buy PPE, which is an initial spend. So the company will kind of work with it. They'll also provide training on business and business management and business planning and financial planning. So they don't just provide the capital. That is why we do a 3-year long program with the qualifying individuals, and then we walk through them. So initially there's a lot of support, and then year 2 a little bit less, and year 3 a little bit less. So the idea is to get them up, get them on their feet, and have them grow and develop their areas. That is directly involving the solar plants. We also look at others that might not necessarily benefit from the actual solars. We have a lot of people that wants to do like food stands, and then we'll support it with them, but also working through the process of how do you actually manage a positive cash flow while dealing with your debt if you need to, go and lend money. So there's a whole process. So there's always 2 or 3 people that you can support, and it's a 3-year program. And then the rest of the community is not receiving anything. It's just those 3 businesses. So what they then ask for is, isn't there something that we can do that has a wider impact instead of just the 2 or 3 candidates? And then what the company went and did, along with government, social and economic development department, they put together almost like a curriculum where you look at business finance, modeling, and all kinds of techniques you'll need in order to get your business up and running, and go perhaps and present it at a bank for a business loan. Yeah, so I think it's a 6 months program. where we will take 30 individuals from the local community and then take them through this program. So by the end of the program, the idea is that they will be capable of putting together a business plan and go to a bank and say, this is the business plan, here is my market, these are my competition, this is how it all flows together. I need an X amount to get A, B, and C started. So that is kind of what I mean. And then the criteria for people applying is youth owned and 50%, at least 51% women owned. So we do get individuals that don't meet that criteria that also apply, but we try to, in the majority, or I would say more than majority, support the youth and women-owned upcoming developments. So an easy thing for me to get women into the industry is Globeleq has a internship program. And we probably get between 100 and 150 applicants per site. And I focus on women interns. It's not always possible. There is challenges on some of the sites, but as far as reasonably possible, we focus on getting women interns. Well, I focus on other managers and departments might not just focus on that. They might be more skill focused, but for me, the internship program is an easy way to open a door for women to enter into the renewable space and get them in the door, and then have them get exposure and experience on renewable sites. I think in my time here, I've pushed through 4 female interns, and out of the 3 of them, they've moved on to really good positions within the renewable sector. And then 1 went to a private sector on rooftop solar as well. But yeah, so we've seen, out of the historical background, once that, you get exposure and some experience in the renewable field, it's a little bit easier for that individual to move forward and stay within the renewables. The typical intake level is up to N3. On some instances, we'll take a little bit lower, but it is N3, and then we also look at taking in graduates from the national diploma level. So those is normally, pardon me, if you see a high level of integrity and passion, because then that individual will go on and become part of your management team, and then also maybe move into your engineering or IT or business intelligence sections. So on Globeleq's website, if they go on there, the internship program is there. They can apply there. Also, any job opportunities is always updated and fresh on the website. Yeah.